And we are live. What's up, Cere-Bros? My name is Professor Erks. I have a sweet cast of Cere-Bros here with today and a special guest. So let me introduce. The Hulk is here.
Hulk smash!
And we have Shay from Heroclix Borderlands, actually.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
And we have our local our local Super Q champ, Scott Hickman.
Hey guys, what is up?
So, I'm going to try and go for a short episode this week. It is our 1,000 subscription party.
Ooh.
I know, this is kind of turnout I get for 1,000 subs, but hey, I'm totally stoked. More Cere-Bros will flood in as they come. I'm just super stoked. Thank you all for showing up right away and being on time for the most part. But let's get into this and start. I want to start off with Scott first. So Scott, question. You just got back from the U.S. Rock Cup, right?
Oh yeah.
How did you do?
Well, I got into the top 8, right?
Yeah.
And I ended 7th, which was pretty good out of like 40 people.
40 people? Wow.
Yeah, so I think I did pretty good. I had my team consisted
what was
of
your team? I was gonna ask.
has Nick Fury. It had the Haha Joker at 30 points. It had the 2 Joker's Wild Green Lanterns. So I got the walls, and it had the blue power battery with 4 constructs: the axe construct, the stop sign construct, the what was it? The range combat expert crossbow construct, and the last one was the catapult for TK.
Wow, so that's right. This is with the new Rock Age format, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. So any fig from the Superman set up is legal.
Man,
that must have been. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I bet
Yeah,
building
so
for that must have been
that's it.
hard because you had no idea. But there was a ban list, so like the big bads weren't going to be there, right?
Oh yeah, there was a ban list. I've only been playing for a year now, so I didn't know any of the old figs. So I had to go ask my my Heroclix buddies like Eric
Oh
and
my god.
a couple of other people, and be like, "Hey,
So
what was the meta back then?" So
you never faced like a Brother Voodoo or a Phantom X or Super Skrull? I think was banned, wasn't he?
I'm not sure. I didn't fight any of those guys though.
No, I would love to have seen possibly. Who was the Green Lantern that was a huge deal because he could make 2 attacks back
Kyle
with
Rayner. I had to fight him, man. I had to fight him.
No Kyle Rayner.
Oh yeah, I had Joker. Joker was on his poison click, and I was fighting him. I knew his stop click was on click 3, right? So I was able to lock him down with my plasticity, poisoning him twice, and that blue power battery gives all the perplexes and stuff, right? So I had Nick say like, can't use something, and then I shot him for 6 damage, which killed him instantly.
Took him out right away.
Yeah, took him out right away.
That's the way to do it. That's impressive.
Yeah, so.
Any other incredible teams that you faced? Like something really off the wall, didn't expect?
You know that, yeah, kind of. You know that uncommon weapon of Quard?
Yes.
Oh, that guy.
I had to fight that guy full points. And
full points, wow.
He made it to all the way to the other side of the map. He had like a TK, and then he has the like charge or running shot without having your movement. He's a movement of like 12 or something.
Oh, that's right. You guys are playing old rules, not even the new rules.
Yeah, so he can make it all the way across the map. So
yeah, 8 range TK was just too much.
Yeah.
Okay, I personally have never played in a huge event like that. The biggest event that I probably ever played in was maybe 12 people. I played mostly local. But describe to me the feeling that you felt. I mean, I don't know if you've done it before, but just walking into a room of 40 people that any one of them you're going to have to face, just that many people. Like, was it overwhelming at first? Did you feel excited?
Yeah.
Maybe heart raced a little bit? Like, describe that excitement to us.
I'm more of a calm person, but let me tell you, every time I like go try to fall asleep the night before the tournament, I usually can't. I usually fall asleep at midnight, and then maybe I wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, can't fall back asleep, so I usually get like 4 to 5 hours of sleep on those nights because I know it's coming.
Nice. That's
Have you ever, like you say you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, have you ever like just rushed back to your team and gone, okay, well maybe this isn't going to work. Maybe I should do, like, have you ever had those second thoughts right before showtime?
I definitely have, but I know that if I do change up my team, I'm not going to be able to play test it. I always try to play test my team before tournaments, so I know if I change it last minute, I'm probably screwed because I haven't played the team before.
Good point. Another popular channel says something about practice, so yeah, I could definitely understand that. I've gone into games where I've never even played the team before and wish I had done better, probably knowing the team more. So yeah, I guess you have to fight those urges of panic, I guess.
Yeah, because I was like, oh shoot, because I came across Casey Flash that night. I was like, oh shoot, I remember I have this guy. And
One of my
so I was like,
personal
oh
favorites.
shoot, should I play this guy instead with like the sniper rifle or something? I was like, nah, I can't. It just didn't work that way.
You went with what you planned. That's awesome.
Hey, Scott, what maps did you use?
All right, so I ended up using the Manhattan Bridge.
Okay.
I had the Prison 42 from Civil War, bar by my most favorite map. I had shoot, I can't remember the last map, but those two were the top two I played.
Right. How many times did you win map?
How many times did I win map? I won map every single time except twice. So it's pretty well in my favor actually. So
that's cool. See a lot of theme teams there, or was it just a bunch of?
I saw a couple of theme teams, but not a ton. I saw I saw a lot of the Sinestro power batteries. Like there was about 3 people playing the Sinestro power batteries with the full point Goblin Kings.
Wow.
That's what my dad was.
Wow.
Yeah, so those 3 of those, and then there was like 2 Superman Sinestro power battery teams. So I was seeing lots of those yellow power batteries everywhere.
Which Superman? The Trinity War one?
The Trinity War and the BVS.
Okay. I would play with the Trinity War one. That's like been I've wanted to do that for so long, and now that the Rock Age exists, maybe we can convince local comic book stores to do that. That'd be awesome.
Possibly. But the thing about those yellow power battery teams was that my blue power battery totally countered that because I had 4 perplexes on my team. So I could, and Nick had like the +1/+1 if he targets the highest point character, and he has range combat expert. So, and he had I had the Parallax Possessor on Nick as well.
Okay.
So I was able to get the +1 damage from that as well as Impervious. So I was able to boost my attack to a 14 and my damage to a 6. So that was definitely doing something.
Hey, what was your scariest win? Did you ever get a really close win during this?
Not necessarily. Not really. It's either I totally dominate the other person's team or I can't really pick off anybody at all. So
was it more like I'm sorry, go ahead.
My strat was with the 2 Green Lanterns, right? I'd have I trap the top highest point character on their team, the biggest threat, right? Since I choose an indoor map, I'd have 4 barriers all around, and I have the light wall marker to put in between characters if I couldn't put a barrier block there. And then that basically trapped them for the game. I just constantly do that, and Nick would say you can't use hypersonic or can't use improved movement or something like that. Can't use, I don't know, something like that. And then I just have Nick pull off the shots.
Oh, cool. How many games did you end up playing rounds before they did the cut?
So since I won that Super Q in Bountiful, right? So I got the first round by 300 victory points. So I didn't have to worry about the first round. And then we did like 5 Swiss rounds after that.
Wow, that's a grind. That can really, was that all in one day?
That was all in one day. And then the top 8 was the next day. So I ended up playing lots of games that day.
Were you burnt out at the end? Just just
Nah,
toast?
man, I wanted to play some more.
Just living off the high. That's great. Did you
Yeah.
feel it was like a rock paper scissors type format where, like you were saying, either you did well against a team or they shut you down? Like there were no.
Yeah,
were
there
saying
were
there were
no
no-
like. I would say there isn't a really like completely like close game. You know, like 100 points to 110 points. There, I never saw any of those games there.
So,
It was either like complete domination or you lose. You
wow.
totally get picked off.
So what was so the next day you came back and played top 8, right?
Right.
And so what happened that next day?
Okay, so the day before that, my first round, I was fighting a Quinjet team, and I lost in that team because he had like 3 guys that shot through barriers and stuff. So my barriers were no good. He had just he had 2 drones. And he was just sending guys at me left and right. And then he eventually called out his nick, and he shot me for 6. It's can't use shape change, and it really hurt. He blew through my barrier with Ultron that ignored barrier or blocking for movement purposes.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah.
that totally blew past my barrier, and
Ultron
then he was able to get the
6,
shot
I
out.
think.
Yeah, something like that. But he KO'd my nick in 1 hit, and that was it.
So in the first day, then you just lost once? Was it just one time?
Yeah, I actually lost twice in the first day. But the point is that the next day in the top 8, I had to fight that same Quinjet team since he was 3rd and I was 6th, and that was the pairings. So I got paired up with that Quinjet team again, and I tried to play a little differently. He picked off one of my Green Lanterns instead of Nick right off the bat. So he turtled, he ran back, so I had to get up there. So I TK'd out Nick. I tried to shoot Ant-Man. I needed the 50-point Ant-Man from the Morphine one. I had to try to shoot him down to get those 50 points, and then I would have turtled back. I needed 4 or higher, and I had a prob. He had no line of fire to me. I was out of range for prob. So I roll, right? I roll a 4, misses. All right. Second roll, I roll a 4 again, misses. So
wow,
that sucks so bad. So and then
put yourself in a position.
Yeah, and then it was all over from there. He just called out his nick. Nick bumped. He blew out the wall, and that was it.
So did you notice the level of intensity changed from day 1 to day 2?
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot more competitive players and competitive teams than there was on day 1. I was able to win the co-main event, however, and the Sunday event.
Oh, cool. What's the co-main event?
All right, so the co-main event was a 500-point theme team.
Holy cow!
Yeah, so Silver Age, so any carded figure. So I decided to run my JSA team, right? Because I'm like, who can't go without 20 defense? So I was running the KC Green Lantern full points. I was running the Jakeem because he's JSA as well, so like that's a no-brainer. Jakeem and 20 defense, like who's not gonna do that? And then I ran 3 of the Barrier Green Lanterns and 3 Atoms with the symbiote.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I had a complete army. So no one was able to really hit me at all.
Oh yeah.
Are resources allowed in that format?
No, it was just so no ID cards. It was the limited format. No ID cards, no resources.
So just the figures, right?
Yeah, just the figs and special objects.
Wow.
So Scott, while you're at the event, who was the coolest player that you played? But who were the probably the most celebrity players that you met?
Well, the coolest team that I fought was probably that Quinjet team. It was so intricate. He had to come up with what ID cards was on his team. He had to come up with all the variables. Like after the game, I was talking to him, and he said that he thought of a way to beat a barrier team such as mine. because he's like, yeah, I have 3 call outs that ignore blocking terrain, and I have this Ultron that ignores blocking terrain for movement. So that was it. And then the two people I met there was obviously Patrick and Aaron Cantu. So those were the 2 big
two
names.
huge names.
Yeah, I've always wanted to meet Pat. That'd be so cool. I bet is he like just like chill, down to earth when you get to know him?
Yeah, he's way cool. He's a way cool guy.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, I was talking to him, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be playing in the Rocktober either. He's gonna be actually running it."
Oh, he's running it.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. So I will get to meet him because I am going to Rocktober this year. It's so exciting. So it's gonna be me and Colin Wilson, other Cere-Bro, who won the event for the states here that Scott was in. So he and I are going down. We're gonna meet Pedro and Thiago Pinta de Luz, the Brazilian champs down there. So that's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Pedro should be here anytime. Just waiting on him.
He's probably just finishing up, getting off the treadmill.
Him and that treadmill life.
He's gonna be the healthiest man I know.
Healthiest, nicest, great guy.
So, were there a lot of teams that were using, more newer figures? I mean, I would probably think that more of the more recent sets, more modern sets, would have been prevalent over, Golden Age or Silver Age stuff.
I would say no. There was a lot of old figures more than the modern figs I see now. Another team that I lost to, and like the other team that I lost to in the Swiss rounds, they were playing a Sheik or Shriek or something from Guardians of the Galaxy. The rare that gives Battle Fury. They gave her the sniper rifle. So she had a range of a 10, and she got flexed up to a range of 12. So every character within 12 range had possessed Battle Fury. So that totally killed off my Nick doing range combat attacks.
Wow.
Yeah, and I totally lost to that. And she ignores, like, for mind control, she doesn't need a line of fire. She just has to be within range. So she mind controlled one of my Green Lanterns, and she made him go right next to her. And he was playing a Goblin King as well. So Goblin King chose like Flurry and Prob or something like that. And he just mind control, bring them back, and kill him with Goblin King.
Dang.
Yeah, it was a total defensive team.
So
I see Pedro has joined us.
Yeah, speaking of awesome people in this world, hey Pedro.
Hey, well, you're too kind. You're too glad you're speaking about liars as well.
How you been, buddy?
Good. Sorry for the delay, guys. Sorry.
No worries. Hey, so we have Scott Hickman here. He went to the U.S. Rock Cup, placed 7th, got first in the co-main event. He's gone over people he played, teams he played. He went over his team. He went over his experience. Did you have any unique questions for him you could think of off the top of your head real fast?
How was it, the last cup was Silver Age, right? Was a Rock Age actually.
Yeah.
So how do you, if it's at all possible, how do you prepare for something like that? Is it possible? Is there any guideline to try to nail it?
Any tips?
There's so many variables to go over when building a team from so many sets. I was talking to one of my friends, and he was all like, because the only resource that I knew was Pandora's Box, and he's like, "Oh man, you shouldn't run Pandora's Box. The power batteries are the way to go." I'm like, "What's power batteries?" And so I had to go back and
what's power battery? Wow.
So many different pieces from past sets and determine what I was gonna play. I ended up playing more modern figs though, but I ended up running a power battery as well.
Cool.
So, hey, Scott, how much play testing did you do with that team?
I got like 5 games in maybe. I was play testing against my dad and a couple of other friends. So I definitely practiced well with the team. I thought it did good.
Mm-hmm. How the dice treat you?
Oh man, they were good. They were good to me until until they made me play with the ROC dice for the top 8.
Oh my
That,
god.
those
Oh,
ROC
yeah, that
dice
dice switch
totally
is
tipped
always
me
the
off.
worst.
Because I had my lucky dice, right? I had my lucky dice, and then they gave me the ROC dice. And when they gave that to me, I knew it was all over. After I rolled
hear
a
you.
4 twice in one game, I with a prob, so I just wasn't able to hit. Those dice
Man.
were not
Tough.
did not treat me well at all.
All good. All right. So, Scott, congratulations. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing those experiences with us. I'm going to take a moment and, thank the fans. It's been 1,000 subscribers. Coolest experience ever. They are the best. You guys are the best. But now it's time. So, those of you watching at home live, this is a treat for you.
Oh, man.
Share it now. Everyone now, take this link to this video and put it on Facebook. It's happening.
Oh my lord,
By the
I'm
guy.
so glad I arrived in time. Yes. Yes. Oh my lord. Sweet. Putting your money where your mouth is, Urks. Respect.
And for those of you wondering, it is the great Mike Nito doing the honors in the background.
Exactly.
As he promised, he would shear the sheep, and the sheep is sheared. Cheers to
Wow.
you, my friend.
I washed my hair today.
Sweet. The real
I love how he
deal.
holds that one piece out in front of him.
With so much hair.
We're gonna do giveaways of Urks hairpiece.
This is so relieving.
Subscribe now and earn a chance.
He should save some of that for when he turns 60, because male pattern balding is a thing.
Sweet.
Oh man.
It's gonna be a lot easier to tell the hotel guy who's gonna be there in the room in Atlanta. Just get the ball sexy guy in my room.
Mike Nito, everyone. Master hair cutter.
Look at the happiness in his face. I haven't seen him this happy since he pulled double chase on a clone booster.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, there's just so much. I don't know if I can.
You're gonna have to adjust the headset
I
now.
hope-
No. Let's stop.
I hope he had the forethought to put something down like a trash bag, because that's going to be a pain to get out of the carpet.
Or that you warned your wife before it was going to happen.
Yeah, right?
This is a light advice.
I know. Oh man.
Oh, he is not being gentle either.
Oh wow.
He doesn't care.
Oh no.
Okay, so if we get
You
to
can almost
2,000,
sense some.
if we get to 2,000 subscriber, Mike will shave the other half.
Only shave half. That would be great. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
If they get to 2,000 subscribers, I'll shave my hair.
Ooh, the plot thickens.
Right now. You guys should have been here. This is on you. Oh my gosh, I'm so going
Oh
bald.
fake man.
Holy cow.
Oh, you should look.
We're in the army now. We're in the army now.
Exactly.
Looks like a scene out of Stripes.
They are having way too much fun with this, Mike. I have to listen to this later to hear what they're saying.
Oh, you don't want to hear what we're saying, buddy. It looks like a Spalding tennis ball.
Well, the Urks pictures are gonna be perfect now.
There's one part and repost it. I just know I am.
Oh, the memes are gonna fly.
Exactly. No more effects on the Urks pictures.
The Vin Diesel of HeroClix.
You put this on yourself, Eric.
Come on!
Bozo the half
I'm
clown.
a monster right now. This is the worst.
Sweet.
Why do I still have hair? Should not be gone.
He should just do the Picard look and just have the hair on the sides around him.
Nice.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Sweet.
Oh my gosh.
It's like I'm being enlisted or something.
right. Like a shaved monkey ready to be shot out in a space.
God, I haven't seen something so horrifying since Silence of the Lambs.
The humanity.
Oh,
Man, now we have to set a big goal for Breezy's beard.
I don't think there's an instrument known to man that can take on Beezy's beard.
We have to take him to a red sun and do it.
Oh, man.
You would need like a diamond cutter or a laser or
Yeah.
because
Plasma
you try
torch.
with yeah, anything else is just gonna be a pile of broken tools on the sideline. Oh, is he done yet? I can't watch anymore.
Sweet.
oh.
Get that light is off to the side because we
man.
don't have to get the glare.
There is something in
He's gonna need some lotion.
Yeah. He's gonna have to put some glue on the headset as well. Otherwise, it's gonna slide over all the time.
It puts the lotion in the basket or it gets the hose again. That's too good. Oh, he's loving it now. Look at him. He's getting into it. He's like, oh, yeah, just a little more off the back, Mike.
Now
Oh,
it's the finishing touches.
I think Mike may have a career in the Army.
Yep. He's gonna have the Alpha Strike logo on his back when he's done. Just turn the head.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Oh my god. Just have that shaved into the back.
That'd be
I would
way
so
fun.
do that. I would so do that. Wow, he really is bald.
Yep. Delivered.
Oh man.
Good
Sweet.
lord.
The next Cere-Bros is gonna be him scratching all over and like, oh my god, guys.
He went from Professor X to Lex Luthor.
Ooh, the
Get the
eyebrows.
eyebrows.
You might.
Yes, I might.
People are gonna start asking questions if you take off the eyebrows.
Yeah. Leave the eyebrows. Let's
It'll
do
be
them
a
in
Pink Floyd scene out of the wall.
Let's do a giveaway with the eyebrows.
It's Kingpin.
Yep. Okay.
He just needs a white suit.
Pedro, are you there?
Sweet. Tell me.
I'm not done, but wow, I feel really lightweight right now.
How does the headset feel on your head?
It's there. Oh wow, I look
Sweet.
really bald.
He looks mean now. Just do a MMA face, man. Like, fuck with me, man. Sorry.
Oh.
Fuck with
Whoa!
me. Sorry for that. It's
Hey,
too much
at least it wasn't
emotion.
me this week.
You just lost your whole head of hair. Come on. It's only one. I apologize. But
Live on YouTube,
Hey.
it's all gone.
Sorry.
I'm just
sorry
happy it
for
wasn't me this week.
I'm sorry.
Wow, I
you
look-
look at community guidelines.
I look really different,
You look mean. Sweet.
like a bouncer, right?
Look,
Like,
Meanie Wumble. Eric's got his head
Thank
shaved.
Ebony.
Eric got his head shaved.
I know.
Here, you might need this now.
Wow.
For a week.
Wow. That's
Dude, it
Oh
looks
yeah,
good.
it's all gone, man.
Give Mike our compliments.
Yep.
Tell him the check is in the mail.
Exactly.
Wait, what? Who's sending me a check? I want a check. What?
No, give Mike our compliments and tell him the check is in the mail.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
Check, what?
Yeah, they're sending you a check. They're compliments. Good barbershop work there. Top notch.
Yeah.
Shave first and shave hard.
Shit. Oh man. Okay, I can't see. My glasses are covered in hair.
we were just saying if this whole Heroclix thing doesn't work out, you could start sponsoring Spalding tennis balls.
Oh, very funny. I never said I was gonna go pro clicks, but I can sure try now. People be scared.
I would be intimidated looking at that across the table.
2.
Yep.
Oh, nuts.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's
Oh, it's gonna be a clean shave now.
yeah. So
Nice.
this full shave brought to you by Schick. We don't endorse Schick in any way. We do not consolidate them. They are their own thing. We were saying we are using it. There you go.
That's-
Not advertisement.
Let's hope we don't have a last-minute band-aid support if anything go wrong.
Yeah, no blood. No blood. Oh my, guys. I mean, look at the hair. That's
Oh,
jeez.
I can make a wig out of this thing.
Exactly.
he went from shimp to curly in 30 seconds.
One second, I got glasses back on. I can't. Oh, jeez.
Wow, he is going full. That is insane. He's got some turtle wax for the after job.
He's gonna do the flannel. How do you do that? And how do you call
Yeah.
it? When you do?
The buffing.
Yep.
So
No speed
for
buffing though.
the low price of $1 on Patreon, I will send you a lock of my hair.
Blonde hair, man. Charge more. Charge more. Asgardian locks.
Oh, it's Guardian locks. Got it. Oh man, I can feel his head's out of my head. It's so weird.
Exactly. It's gonna start slippery.
So, how was that for you guys? I didn't hear any of the commentary. Was it fun?
Awesome.
Oh, dude,
Awesome.
you're definitely going to watch this later.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
exactly.
I'm gonna have to. So while I'm here and while it's still early in the episode and people are still watching either live or later, I want to put out this. I may have this later again, but I have a Doomsday for a giveaway
Wow.
Oh,
Nice.
surprise.
It's a packed with surprises
Yes.
episode.
This is for anyone out there, Cere-Bros included. Even Mike can win this if he wants one. So you know. But all you have to do is like this.
Mike, put the knife down.
Dave, not scalping.
I want you to get his head shaved because it's probably never happening again.
No, probably not. But just like the video, comment something about my new hair look, whatever you want to say, and if you're in there, I will make sure you're in a list to win this Doomsday.
Oh, Eric, you missed it.
What I
Not
missed.
to steal the thunder away from the Doomsday, but if you hit 2,000 subscribers, I'm going to shave my head with an Alpha Strike logo in the back.
Oh, dude, that looks dope.
Yep. And then we
Okay.
need to think of a good one for Beezy's beard.
Well, no, Fuzzy's gonna do it.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
But after Fuzzy.
2,000
Yes.
subs though. I gotta get that campaign going.
Oh, look at those luscious locks.
Oh, look at those
Oh my
locks. You know,
God.
there's all those. Just
Awesome.
engrave our
Silver
symbol
hair
on
is
the
worth
head.
even much more.
Gnarly.
But yes, back to the Doomsday. Sorry.
Hey, no worries. It's out there though. Just be a subscriber, like the video, and comment something about my new hair look. It's not done yet, but hey, I'm happy to hear what you guys have to say about it. So, we had a bunch of stuff go on. A couple things I want to ask you guys before we get to number 2 of Mike taking the shit
Phase
in my
2.
head. Keeping the show rolling on Heroclix, because that's what the show's about. So we've had a new set come out, a couple of them, Thor and Undead. Do you guys have anything you want to say about those sets? I will unlock the screen and just take turns, try and be quiet between turns. We'll start with Scott and move to the left. So Scott, Pedro, Fuzzy, and Shay.
All right. Oh man, what do I like about the new set? I definitely like the Mangog a lot. I feel like that is gonna be a big play in meta competitions, and I think that the new weapons are gonna be as well. Because with Mangog, his Colossal Retaliation is good enough already for 30 points. But then again, his trait for giving him a power action, moving up a starting line, brings in a whole different aspect into the game.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially if you guys are setting something up from the starting line, then you retaliate right over there and you stay in for the fun.
Oh yeah. So
And
no, that's
his-
gonna be huge.
his stats aren't too shabby either. I mean, I was looking at like for the points, of course, but the generic Groot, the generic Frost Giant, Miss Marvel, like yes, they're lower points, but man, their stats are just. I was not impressed whatsoever. And then I look at Mangog, and it's just like, okay, yeah, that's what a 30-point figure should feel like.
Yeah, definitely. Just with the one click, can't stop click, can't be ignored. You got your
Right.
Colossal Retaliation, you got your Impervious. It's definitely worth to put on your team for that cheaper points.
And he has a 19 defense anyway, so it makes it even harder to hit.
Yeah. So good luck trying to get past that guy. Unless you kill him off the bat, he's gonna be a pain in your back.
Yep.
And that's actually the point, is you either have to focus him, which opens up opportunities for the rest of your team, or you ignore him and he gets across the board. It's the ogre's choice, jump or be thrown.
Right, it's like chess. As soon as the pawn goes down and hits the other side of the game board, it's a big up in your on your side.
Yeah, I hope this was on purpose, as the same one for Flora. I'm hoping that we discussed this in a few shows ago, in the sense that with kids, hopefully, is going to make subtle things that bring people or the opponent to the board. And these are one of the few. Them Flora is the other one by healing and going, up click by click, especially if you're lucky to get on a map with water, or you win the map roll and you put her in Manhattan Bridge, whatever. I think these are subtle ways, some less subtle, some more subtle, to bring your opponent to the board to say, okay, you want to hang out there. I'll either find a way to get to you, or you have to come to me because I have more to gain from your for your stalling. I'm not calling stalling in a bad way, but from you deciding not to do anything purposefully than you. So I think that's an interesting take on forcing people to engage and coming after your colossals, because
Yeah,
they're now not just there.
Right.
Yep.
I feel
Punishes
like
people for turtling.
I feel like the new Hawkeye, the running shot one with precision strike. I feel like we're going to be seeing him as a ID call out, like him
Yep.
being called out a lot more often now with these new colossals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, especially with the perplex staying the entire turn. With him.
Yeah.
And or the new or the chase Hawkeye with no damage depletion, which is also gonna find
Oh,
a way
yeah,
to take him there.
Yeah.
Which you actually can, because you can get Captain America Samantha Wilson onto any transporter, cross the map. She can call him, perplex his damage, and you just go boop, 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 boop,
Yeah.
picking people and bringing them down. This is gonna be fun.
That's definitely going to be a big thing that we'll see.
And it's not just the colossals that Hawkeye's going to be seeing more play for. The mighty Thor or the mighty Thor's mighty hammer. No, wait, whatever this set is called, the mighty Thor. Look at all the Pog generators. Like how many of those characters actually start with Pogs on the board? You have the Tyrannus. Doesn't he start with one on the board? Like right off, well, you give him a power action and then he starts one, and then he continues to generate them.
I think he starts with two.
Yeah, I'm really liking the new Chase Odin as well, because you can give him power actions or double power actions to put down these Pogs, and since the Pogs have Asgardian keywords, then they get the +1 to their attack, and that's definitely good.
Was it like Red Hawk or something?
Yeah, Crimson Hawk.
Crimson Hawk, that's it.
Yeah, so I'm definitely liking that. And that the whole set together, like I was pulling boosters. I was getting boosters and I was opening them, and I wasn't really disappointed with anybody that I got. I like everybody in the set.
Yeah, I think one thing that's hopefully it's on purpose as well, and talking generally about the set, is that it looks to me, of course, chases are chases and primes are primes, so it's very hard to argue that they're going to be leveled, or some of them not stronger, etc. So we have Battery B, we have Mjolnir with the Thor, but if you look at even the rares now with the Eternals, the rare and super rare level, which is not ultra expensive and very decent, especially the rares to come out on a brick even, you're going to be well served. You're not going to be with a short team, or it's not going to be maybe the ultimate meta fully aligned and synergetic team, but you can get some really strong pieces that well played could take you very far.
When it comes my turn, I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit, because I have a story.
Cool.
All right, awesome.
Definitely.
I guess I'll pass the mic to Pedro then.
Now mine is simple. I already talked a lot, and I apologize for that. I love the set. I think, like I said, it's kind of balanced. The chases are still the chases. I love the objects. I love the fact that the objects also can be countered by many other pieces that were coming as well, like Leonardo, Mr. Nobody, and they're not super hard to get. So there's balance there between, there's a bet because you have to spend points to fight against the objects, and then you don't bring any objects, then you wasted the point. So I think it's becoming more of a balance, and I think it should be the whole fun about. I think the more democratic the game is, the more it's like rock, paper, scissors, Spock, lizard, and whatever else you can throw in. So there's no
Spock lizard.
three or four,
Yes, fuck.
three or four. How if you have 8 items to counter each other, the better, because then it's going to be mostly about the skill and not about the counter and counter teams. So I like that the set served this purpose a lot. Not to mention that they were really happy. First, I didn't see many sculptures reused, and I think it brought a lot of characters that people liked and wanted to see. So I think they were very fortunate in the picks. The only criticism that I have is a joke, but it's a true joke. I wish they made a weapon out of Vorstag turkey leg. It's a crime.
The turkey leg, yes.
Other than that, it was a brilliant set to me.
That's awesome. Any thoughts there, Shay?
On
You've been
the
pretty
set-
quiet.
Oh no! I agree with everything y'all saying. I agree with it. I love the sculpts and the weapons and all that, and the colossals. That's where I really like. So go on with your stuff, Fuzzy.
All right. So we had our sealed on September 2nd, and when I opened up my case, you were saying that Scott, I think, was saying that there really wasn't any pieces he was disappointed in. And I have to agree. There was nothing I really was disappointed in, but there were things that I was really hoping to get, and I didn't get them. And while that disappointment carried with me into my sealed on September 2nd, I was really hoping to pull those, the Destroyer, Odin the Destroyer, Angela, any of the really powerful chases, just so I could do well in the sealed. Maybe I didn't pull so well in the case because Karma was going to come through for me and save me in the sealed. And it didn't. And I looked at what I pulled, and the best thing I pulled, I think, was a super rare Akari. I'm not sure if he's a super rare or a rare.
He's
I think it was a...
He's a rare, isn't he?
Is he the Eternal?
Yeah.
I think he's a rare. The
He's
hypersonic.
46. 46.
So, out of what I pulled, the best 2 figures, and I cannot believe how well they did, but I pulled an Akari and I pulled Athena.
Oh yeah.
And I got to tell you, man, these Eternals stole the show.
Yeah.
I went up against a Chase Hulk and Zeus. My good buddy Eric played those so well, but you couldn't get past the fact that he did not have outwit. So I just kept pumping the defenses, and Zeus does have his ability to nerf those characters, but just they were so hard to hit, and they synergized so well together. And then the next match, I played a very, very good, almost swarm team, and again, impossible to hit. They didn't have outwit. I just kept pumping my defense. Channeling the power cosmic, getting rid of the cosmic team ability to be able to put 2 into my defense. They couldn't hit me. 19-20 defense. Carried me through. And then the last one, I fought Unimind. And with Unimind, he had a lot of support. And I just stayed away from Unimind, took out his support. Was not an easy match by far. But and all 3 games were so much fun. I couldn't thank my opponents enough for the thrill of those games because I felt like every roll mattered. But those Eternals, man, I'm telling you, those for me were the cream of the crop. Like, if you look at those Eternals, they are the premier figures in this set. It wasn't the chases, wasn't the super rares. Those Eternals, man, if the other team does not have outwit, be ready for a hard fight because those Eternals are going to walk up and just you're not going to be able to hit them, or if you are going to be able to hit them, they have ways to come back. It's crazy. Yep. I loved them.
Yeah, I know Athena is just nasty and sealed right now, especially with this set.
Yeah, she's only a common too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she shows up in a lot of teams at Psychic Blast and her running shot. And if you like today, a guy like there were like three. We played a sealed today, and there's like three of them. Three different teams had Athena on it. She's just everywhere, and with little outwit, you can't deal with that +2. I mean, she can even up her. Well, one guy upped his running shot to an 8, doing that. So it's just nasty going across board, and then with her Psychic Blast, she's able to just take some stuff out.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't believe it. Like, I felt so robbed until I actually got through the first match, and how hard that first match was fighting that Zeus and that Hulk. And then I realized, okay, maybe I have a shot at this. And I ended up going 3-0 and winning the event. And I just couldn't believe that those two figures. I ended up throwing. I can't remember the weapon, but it's the weapon with the exploit weakness.
Blood Axe, yeah, that's what.
Yeah, it might have been the Blood Axe, but it's just exploit weakness, and I threw that on Akari, and I barely even had to use it. Like, I was at 275, and everybody else was coming in at 290, 300. I'm like, I got to do something to bring this team up, and I really didn't even need to. It was just like, they didn't steamroll anybody, but at the same time, just those two pieces were able to hold their own against what I felt were vastly superior pieces. And it was just a rare and a common. And I was like, wow, those Eternals, man, they're something to be watched.
Oh yeah, I like how they're throwing more of the like brute figures into like the common and uncommon rarities.
Oh yeah, I know when I misread when I first read the Eternals trait. I just didn't think too much about it, but turning off Power Cosmic +2. But I played Athena in a couple of matches, and man, that's a huge difference maker right there.
Yeah. I think they're being smart because if you create a huge barrier, the competitive scenario, it's already, there's a natural barrier. Some people don't like the style, some people are worried, some people just don't like it, some people like it but are afraid of it. So if you make it a huge barrier in terms of price and rarity of the pieces, then you scare them off even more. So I think the closer they get to say, okay, this team's not going to win by far, but it's going to be take me far away, allow me to have some good matches and good experience. I think the more you mix these two sources, you bring more people to the casual game and you bring more casuals to the competitive scene, and the more you mix, the merrier, right? This is a cool game that you don't have to play one way or the other, and the less the barrier is there, to me, the better. You remove any pay to win concept, you remove like I said, the counter versus counter. I think they're doing a good job. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think as the rules progresses, as the thing progresses, I'm very hopeful. I'm positive about it.
Another thing I wanted to add to compound on that was, I love the fact that they introduced, and this is kind of a segue into our next portion, but I love the fact that they introduced all of these items, because you can now mix and match characters with items with so many options that you don't need to play that Jakeem. You don't need to play that Goblin King. You don't need to play the KC Green Lantern every game. You now have other options and different teams that you can build that may even be able to counter some of the barrier builds. Just instead of building that one piece per set or those two pieces per set, or these are the meta pieces. These are the pieces that you have to have from this set in order to be able to compete. These are the ones that are really, really going to shine. I feel like WizKids is taking a new direction, and instead of making it the piece, they're giving you more options to play with. To me, I like this. I like the way they're heading, and I feel like the rules are heading that way too. With the rule changes and the equipment, getting away from the resources, although I do hope maybe some toned down resources in the future, because I really did like them.
Yeah, definitely.
But getting away from the resources and more into the equipment, it's taking the game into a direction where you have more options. It's not you need Super Scroll. It's not you need Jakeem, or it's not you need to have Felix Faust. Last year I could have named all of the meta pieces that everybody was playing because everybody was playing them.
Right.
Yep.
Right. I like how that the without resources you can just like I like how you can just get your clicks and play the game without having to go through like the complexity of like clicking your resource or like pulling off ID cards and saying, "Oh, I took damage. I need to click my my round Avengers round table. I called out somebody. Let me click it one more time. Oops, I forgot to click it. I'll do that right now." It just makes the game a lot more simpler. You just get to grab your clicks, make a team, play with your friends. It's
anybody.
And I think,
Any,
go ahead.
I was going to say anybody who played with the Rock of Eternity had that problem. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, wait, you took 2 actions, I took 1. Pi times sine minus cosine. Yeah.
And I think it takes up. And one thing that it's not. I wish I was the one who come with this idea, but I heard many other better guys than me saying this. But it was taking the attention away from the game, from the board, and going to the sideline. We're wasting more time doing math and thinking about how to treat your resource than looking at your pieces and make your pieces move and attack. Like you said, the Rock of Eternity had 5 minutes devoted just to see where it's going to
That's
land
good.
before you do anything. So it should be about the pieces at the board. And like you said, it's great. It's great to say now. I have this great melee attacker. I only wish he had more resilience to get there and do his thing. It would be great if it had energy shield deflection. Great. Now we don't have to put a Magneto to give a power action. Now with 4 points, you give him the Captain America shield, and you're done with it. And now, how are you going to prepare? You're going to go crazy trying to prepare. Okay, so what's every piece that might be competitive with every equipment that might go with it? So I know every counter for. It's not going to be possible, and I think that's a great thing of it. It's going to be a lot harder to prepare because now you don't know if you prepare for Unimind with the Mjolnir or with the Blood Axe or with something else or whatever, or the Deadpool guy, the Deadpool with Mjolnir that now can do 2 attacks as well, or whatever. And because the combinations can be so vast and different that you're going to say, well, there's no thing like I'm going to prepare against Jaquin, Goblin King, and the Ha Joker.
right.
So, are you guys having fun?
Oh, yeah. We're having a great time.
So that was all rules discussion, right?
Was
Well,
Dorset
it was store discussion.
meta
Okay.
scenario.
Restored undead. Okay. So now we're on new rules discussion. How do you guys feel those are playing out? If you guys didn't already talk about that.
Not yet. We kind of touch it in the sense that it might make the game more competitive, more friendly, less aggressive either way. Well, aggressive, it's kind of discussable, but I like it. We played the first round of our local league today, and it was very fun. It was very good. People were waiting to see drastic changes. I think that was the coolest thing. Nobody saw, oh my God, the game changed completely. On the contrary, most of the changes made sense. Of course, there's always some hiccups with hypersonic speed, and also some disappointment when a blades go bad and they're gonna say prob it, and you say not anymore. So, but other than that, I think they were well received, and I think the WizKids not only did a good job in putting them out, and of course there is some important changes to people who are used to the old rule, but they also did a great thing in trying to calm people down and react to the more dramatic changes. There are always going to be people complaining and finding glitches on it, but I think they're doing a good job. They're doing the best they can do. And come to think of it, it's a game that's lasts for 15 years, super ultra complex with many phases, stages, and powers, and try to revamp the whole rules and just have 5, 10 issues. To me, it's a marginal hiccup in the whole scheme of things, and I like what they're doing, but it's just me.
Yeah, I like what they're doing, except that I feel like some of the rules that they're changing up is kind of unnecessary, if you know what I mean. Like they're changing up a lot of things, and I feel like that they might be changing up too much.
What do you think, Shay?
I mean, I did a podcast on rules just the other day, but I thought the biggest change was prob and perplex and outwit. Those 3 took some big changes. I like the change to prob, made it a lot more simple, breakaway and attack. Perplex now, since it lasts your next turn, I think its power, it actually increased when you're perplexing your defense.
Yep.
Because that's the one thing when you perplex, it can be checked multiple times in a turn. Like you could have 3 attackers, and that perplex still is used every time. But if you put it on your attack, you only use it once. Or you put it on your damage, you only use it once. But and Outwit, I thought Outwit needed a boost up, and its ability to just cancel anything that you might have on your dial. I think that's pretty cool. And so I like the changes on that. But one thing, when they did their preview out, they said these are the powers we're changing. And then when we got the card, there were a lot more changes than what they first set out. Now, I don't know how many of those were just kind of balancing acts in there where like certain powers changed because something else changed. So, but I do love the new rules.
I think you said it was more just a preview. It wasn't. I think they said it a couple times in the previews. They're like, these aren't the end all be all of the changes. There are more. These are just a preview of what we're doing, just to show you kind of the direction we're heading. But me personally, I kind of like them. And going back on what Scott said, he said that he feels that they changed a lot of things that they didn't need to change. I think that was more for the simplicity for new players, because an experienced player, a veteran player, even a player who's been playing for a year, we're used to Heroclix at this point. So the language and the having to have a law degree to figure out some of the interactions and timing on things is not unfamiliar to us. But I'm teaching people right now how to play Heroclix that have never played the game before. They have some Magic the Gathering experience, but they had never even heard of Heroclix before. Brought them over one day, showed them what it was about, gave them a new set of rules, and set them free. Gave them a kind of an idea, went over some of the powers, some of the rules, and then sent them home. And I was actually very amazed at how much of it, now of course they did make some mistakes, but how much of it they did grasp over just a short hour-long tutorial, and then me saying, here are the rules, go home and check them out for a week, play a couple games, and we'll catch up next week. And when they came back to me a week later, I played one of them, and it was a 12-year-old kid. And I was blown away of how much of the game he actually grasped and understood just from the little bit of exposure that I gave him and reading the rule books and the pack. As a completely green player, never experienced it before, I didn't have to explain much in our game together. So when I think about all the changes that they did, and as a veteran player, I go, okay, that's kind of stupid. Why are we wording it like that when it does exactly the same thing it did before? I have to remind myself they're trying to get new players. So maybe that's why they're doing it. I don't know.
Well, I think it's important to get new players. This game has to grow or continue to grow. It does. And I was going to ask you, Fuzzy, what's the power? You've obviously taught a lot of players. So what power did you notice that they just really picked up really easy now that before was always a struggle?
Well, the fact that Perplex and Outwit now last until the next turn, even if they're outwitted or if you lose them by turning the dial or something like that, took a lot of confusion out of it. Like, they didn't have to ask me, okay, now that this power is gone, do I still have it? And I didn't have to go through the explanation of, no, you don't have that anymore because it's not showing on your dial, or no, you don't have it. They get that power back because you lost Outwit. I don't have to go through that anymore. Or Barrier and Smoke Cloud, how they're now there until your next turn. Whereas before, if you lost Smoke Cloud, didn't Smoke Cloud go away? I think.
Yeah, Barrier and Smoke Cloud last is the only one that's the only two that don't go away immediately with power loss. Back sets it into your next turn.
So. And then some of the rules with what was the other big thing? Not necessarily the powers, but rules with using objects and attacks. Now it's a choice of you have to either pick to use the object in the attack, or you choose to use exploit weakness, or you choose to use flurry. You can't use the object in a flurry or an exploit weakness. I like explaining that to them because it was less for me to have to, because when you get into that, okay, you can chain these powers together, then they start getting the chaining of the powers together wrong because they're chaining the wrong powers.
Yeah,
They're
that
not
was
reading.
exactly what happened here. Here, sorry to interrupt, but it's just a perfect segue. With me, with the guys we were discussing, teaching, a lot of the confusion that came with power combos went away. There's still some, but because the fact that you removed action from the name of stuff, that have it's a power action, it's a range action, it's an attack. You just say, dude, it needs a close. The other power needs a close. They can't combo because you only have one close to give. You can't give two closes. And so that simplified things a lot. There's still some mistakes,
Yes.
there's still some willingness, but it simplified a lot in terms of now it's not call action or anything. Each one has its own cost, and it's streamlined without changing the complexity a lot. So powers, from what I've seen from the team here, not much. They cried pulse wave will always be pulse wave, so that one it got better, but it didn't solve the issue. Hypersonic speed also still creates some confusion for those who, even the guys who are playing. And if you see some videos on the internet, people always forget to break away afterwards. People just, if you work, does this guy have plasticity? It doesn't matter anymore. You're still gonna make the attack. It's only gonna be harder to break away afterwards. So it's
It's
just means that this kind of old.
it's funny because it's almost harder for older players to learn the game than it is a
Yeah,
newer player.
It's the truth.
exactly,
It's the truth.
exactly. Get
And
down the
so,
whole.
yeah. Hey, Mike, what do you think?
Well, as you guys probably read on my Facebook posts, the rules really threw me for a loop, and I was on the verge of quitting, mainly over the barrier and smoke cloud sticking around after you lost the power. It's always been consistent in Heroclix that when you lose a power, the effect ends. And I personally completely and totally object that when you lose your power, the effect still remains. I understand why it's done with smoke cloud and barrier, but I don't like it. I'll get used to it. I'll get over it. It's all good. But to me, that's one of the small hiccups in their attempt to simplify the game, because if they would have just left it, you lose a power, that effect of that power ends, period. It would have been blanket. But now we've got two exceptions. And another exception with super strength that, well, super strength is a burst, which allows me to pick up the object. And then if I lose super strength, well, I still have the object because super strength wasn't what's allowing me to hold the object. It's what allowed me to pick up and then hold the object. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
I have to
and to
agree with the super strength.
yeah.
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm going to be devil's advocate for both sides because I really toss this around a lot. I understand why. How many times have we played a game where you've got a character that their main to do is charge super strength top dial? You pick up the object, you're getting into battle, and someone goes shaka plow and shoots you, or outwits you. And you drop the object, and you're just like, well, there goes that whole power that was intended for this character and what they can do. Then
Yeah.
you're left with nothing. And so they wanted that to carry over. I can definitely understand like the motivation of what went behind that. Same with barrier. It's always been a tactic of mine as well as other HeroClix players that when you have barrier, well, I can hit that character and you lose the barrier. I outwit that character and you lose the barrier. And now it doesn't matter. You put it out there, it's out there till the beginning of your next turn, which can be really frustrating for these characters that do free barrier. Specifically like Green Lantern gets one square, or people who do two squares of barrier for free, or even just people who want to box in and barrier. You now have to blow through walls, and how they've changed shoot for blocking terrain to be one piece. It really, to me, scales the game back that they've made barrier so much more turtle and long lasting that I don't know. I think it's taking the game in the wrong direction. I think what really happened with the rules change, and I'm just going to go out on a limb here, is that they went through and they said, okay, what is everything we've had a question about? How do we make those questions go away? And their answer is, well, let's just make it so the answer to that is no. Can you use this power, this power? No. Can you use this power, this power? No. Does this do this? No. Does this carry over to this person? No. They just made that all no. And then they said, okay, now that we've taken care of all the questions, what do we think the game needs to improve? Well, our playtesting group said that we really don't like it when this happens. Well, how do we make that to go away and still try and keep things simple with a few exceptions? And that's really where I think they may have gone too far initially, is making those changes to long-standing things in the game just because people didn't like it, or a select group of people didn't like it. I think that the simplification of the wording would have been enough. Simplification of the stacking of powers, like you guys were talking about, needed to be taken care of. And then maybe somewhere down the line, we could have got some adjustments to these powers where, the transition of old player being able to play with the new rules and new player coming into the game would have been a little bit smoother. Maybe a year down the line, we could have got some of these improvements. I'm actually anticipating obscuring terrain or smoke cloud instead of hindering terrain. Why is smoke cloud going to stop me from running? Am I just scared to run through the smoke cloud and go punch Batman? No. They specifically made obscuring terrain to block line of fire. I think that's where smoke cloud's going to go. I hope.
Yeah.
I really hope.
Makes
I
sense.
completely agree.
It makes more sense.
So,
I have to agree.
yeah. Hey, Mike. So, what power did you like the change in?
Oh, there were so many. I like the change to the Blaze Claws. Made it definitely worth it on any other character. I do like the change to hypersonic speed, although it is a little confusing to you make your move and then you're stopped, so you make your attack, and by the time the attacks are resolved, you're like, okay, now I have to break away, and you're like, how many squares did I have left? I'm actually considering making a little counter for myself so I can keep track of how many steps I moved before, and then move that many afterward. I know it was what we always did before. To count the movement, but a lot of what we did before was
You usually put in the end and you mark the square you attacked from, right?
exactly. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna attack from here, and then I'm gonna move over here, and then make my attack. You can't do that anymore. You have to move, stop, make the attack, make the breakaway roll, and then remember how many squares you move. But on to powers that I still like. I love the change to outwit. I know it's going to be a lot of hiccups for a lot of people between counter and can't use. Some other powers. I love the change to support. Oh my goodness! I played Title Thor with Jane Foster, just pulling him over from anywhere to
gosh.
support me while in base contact. Oh, I heal too. I actually had him wound up to 8 plot points all 3 games. I just never had the chance to use it because I had to use that to bring somebody over or bring somebody out of combat. He was operating more as a general for my team rather than, as well as a heavy hitter at the same time. He is a package deal. I'm actually working on writing an article for my Facebook page, just talking about him alone. But more powers. Let's see. Powers that I really like to change to. Let's see.
Did you like Precision Strike in terms of balance? Not the power itself, because it was a small nerf.
Jury's still out on that one. I really think that, the fact that they give all these people multiple bolts, and you're like, nope, you can only target one person. Look at the Ray. He was designed for Precision Strike with 4 bolts, and they took it away. It's just like, come on, guys. Really? I understand what the power control was about, the nerf, but it just seemed like it came at the wrong time. That there wasn't a lot of forethought. It seemed like it was a real kind of, hey, let's just do this because that's what we're going to do. I do, however, like the fact that it's Super Senses still gets
Right.
6.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot more fair.
I agree.
It was,
I mean,
was
I
too
love.
cheap to cancel Super Sense, right? It wasn't like an embedded outwit, and you ignore Mastermind and Super Senses on a passive power, which is great because outwit does the same thing, but it's only one power and it is not given freely. And Precision
Right.
Strike, it's a lot more common on attackers, and you need usually a support guy or someone that you're going to invest points in to have that outwit.
It's like Oprah. You get precision striking. You get precision striking. You get precision striking. Everybody gets precision strike. Yeah. Yeah. I think that a lot of the rules were made simpler, but with what we're saying as well, a lot of them were more complicated. Like reading the rules on Invincible, for instance, it now reduces penetrating, can't take more than 3. All of that wording for you're basically taking 2 damage away and can't take more than 3.
So I'm going to counter argue here, Fuzzy, because when you're looking at what Invincible was before, you ignore half the damage. The argument that always came up was, do I round up or do I round down?
Right.
And the whole thing was, you always round in your favor. Well, am I rounding in the attacker's favor because he's the active player, or do I round in my favor because it's my power? There's a lot of questions around that. There's a lot of math. Now I look at it this way. I'm not exactly sure how it's worded currently, but I personally think it should be worded, reduces penetrating damage. That's your first check. Are you doing penetrating? Doesn't matter anymore. Reduce all damage I take by 2. Okay, so you dealt me 4 damage. I'm taking 2. and then I don't take more than 3. So you hit me for 7, I reduce it by 2, so I take 5.
That's
Hey,
5.
I don't take more than 3, so I take 3. It's a simple yes or no check through the power itself. It's check 1, check 2, check 3, rather than I have to ignore this. I have to do some math. I have to figure out who's in favor this is. And unless you play HeroClix a lot, we're just like, oh yeah, 5 is 2. You just know. You're just like, yep.
But again, it's going back to that older player getting used to the newer language meant for newer players.
Yeah, and I was going to say that I like the invincible change myself because it just kind of fell in line with invulnerable, impervious, and invincible.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, they kind of go in a line there. One you can roll out of, and the other one ignores, or can reduce penetrating. But I mean, to your point, yeah, as an older player, these are big changes. These new synergies that are now coming around. It's hard to get your head around what combos don't work anymore and all that, and that's what everybody's trying to fill out. A newer player coming in, they're going to pick it up a lot quicker because, they're fresh to the game. So these new rulings would just kind of flow with the way it's worded. But I've noticed that too.
Has anybody noticed anything with the actual rule book and not necessarily the pack? Like anything? I can't think of anything that I've seen in the rule book that's really drastically different than before.
The format.
Other than,
sorry,
go ahead, maybe. Go ahead, please.
Now, the format looks nicer. I mean, when I go in there and read it in the blacks, those little like examples, and it comes after the section it's talking about. Like you'll read a section and it has a little black box that says, and it's an example, kind of help clarify a point or bring up something. I kind of like the way that was. I pulled up my old rule book. It looks a little bit thinner and it's not as big as the other one was. So I kind of like the format of it. It looked a little bit easier to read, easier to flow through. I kind of like that.
I have the new rule book was written really well, and I passed on compliments directly to the one of the guys that I know wrote the rule book through BZ, and it was really well written. I think it's going to be a lot easier for new players to pick it up. My main objection was some of the changes that were made overall, the exceptions that were made to rules that if you just look in the rule book, you look at one section, and you're not looking at the right section, you're going to get the wrong ruling. I also object that there's 2 rule books. There's the standard rule book for players, and then there's the, hey, look, this is for your super advanced players who already know the rule book. Why couldn't it have just been an appendix in the back of the rule book? They could put a page that said, stop, don't go past this point unless you're either A, a judge, or B, an advanced player looking for an advanced ruling. And then that could have just been a few more pages on the back side of the book rather than writing an entire second rule book specifically for judges.
The comprehensive, right?
Yeah.
Which doesn't contain all the information that's in the core rule book. So I've got 2 rule books now that only tell me half of the story.
All right. Did you like where they're going to update it now? Like keep it updated online with the PDF?
That is fantastic. Magic the Gathering has been doing that for longer than I can remember, longer than I've ever played. Longer since then I retired from Magic. But this is something that they really needed to do to update the information directly through the WizKids page. I love the rules form. It's great to go get an answer. But again, for your new player who barely knows anything, doesn't know about the community, doesn't know about HG Realms, doesn't know about the win, they look at the side of the package and say, Heroclix. Heroclix.com. Hey, cool. Hey, look, I found the rules. The fact that that's a living document now that keeps going, that they can go look at, I think that's putting their money where their mouth is. That's putting the horse in front of the cart, because as great as it is to have these other forums for the players who are really into it, we really need to start targeting new players, or else the game is never going to grow.
Hey, Scott.
Definitely.
Yeah. Hey, Scott, have you played any games with the new rules? Like
Yeah, I've played a couple.
So did you notice anything when you played it?
I played it, and I found out the new thing with the objects, and I'm not sure if I'm liking that, because I liked how you place the objects and it would hinder people's movement, right? Because they're going through an object, but now it doesn't, and now you can't place objects to benefit your figure's stealth either. And I guess that's okay, I feel like it's a big nerf to objects. I thought getting rid of the ultra light and getting rid of the ultra heavy was definitely good because ultra heavies are just too overpowered and giving the
Yeah.
+3 to damage. But nerfing the objects that hard where it doesn't grant stealth unless it's a heavy object and it doesn't hinder movement anymore, I feel like that variable has been completely taken out of the game.
And you also need to be on top of it to enjoy it, right? Is it going through lines that go through it? Does line that goes through heavy objects still hinder or not?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I think
they
it only
do.
hinders for heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy objects are hindering terrain for line of fire purposes. Now, I'm going to counter argue here, Scott, because there's a lot of times that I have done that sneaky, underhanded thing that there's an elevated terrain, particularly on one of the new maps. I think it was the What If, the rooftop, where there's not printed stairs to that one elevated terrain. And when we were playing old rules, I put a heavy object on one side and a heavy object on the other side. And I fly up there, and if you don't have any flyers, I've got myself a perfect little nest to do whatever it is that I need to do. And it's
Definitely.
when you're in the WizKid's office, those are two wide hallways. You drop two objects, you're forcing your opponent to either stop or go around if they don't fly. I think that was a really cheap move, and I'm actually really glad that it's gone. It's hard to remember.
Yeah.
I still look at objects like, oh, I can't walk there. No, wait.
Oh yeah.
Funny you
Again,
say that. Going back to the game I played on the second, it was the first time that we played with the new rules, and there were some mistakes. I'm kind of glad that the footage didn't come out because they would have probably been embarrassed, even though they probably didn't need to be. But again, with Invincible, we screwed up. We played it old rules Invincible. With objects, we played it heavy objects also are hindering for movement purposes because we forgot the subtle, oh no, it's just for line of fire now. Yeah, so again, it's the veteran player trying to relearn those things that came naturally to us after all that reinforcement. It's like Pavlov's dog. You ring a bell, they start to salivate for food. Well, now we got to learn that ringing the bell doesn't necessarily mean we can run through that dumpster. Or
Yep.
Sorry, bad analogy, but
no, good analogy.
Yeah. Has anybody started playing ping pong with that super strength yet? Knocking people around?
no, we forgot. Completely forgot. Yeah, again, there it is again. Old players going by old rules in the new environment. There were so many times I could have used super strength with knockback, especially on that lake map where there was all ice territory where you double the knockback. I could have used that so many times with Icarus and completely forgot.
Right.
Completely.
Especially now, I mean, that knockback is really important because now since they ruled that flyers coming off elevated now take the damage.
Yep.
That
Yeah,
was
maps
one
with
the
a lot of
changes-
elevations are gonna look crazy.
That was one of the changes I did object to really strongly. That, again, something that's been a long-standing rule in Heroclix that everybody knows: if you're flyer, you go off the edge, you don't take falling damage. But they got rid of it. Now, at the same time, I can see the tactical advantage there. That, hey, your flyer is no longer safe being up on the edge, and I can just bunt them off. But at the same time, it's a fundamental change in the game. The one thing that's really helped me through this massive change to the rules was what one of the rules designers, Sue Beasy, said to us in Cere-Bros chat. He basically said, look, forget the old rules existed. Just treat this like it's a brand new game. And that's not a direct quote. But he just said, don't be concerned with the old rules. Just focus on the new rules. If it says something, that's what it does. If it doesn't say something, it doesn't do that. Don't think, well, it used to do this. Just think that doesn't exist anymore. This is the new game. And that's been the only thing that's really helped me try and overcome this curve of the new game. But at the same time, when there comes to things that, there's disagreements over rules, I hate that. It just ruins the game for me. It's just like, Eric's and I, hopefully he has either mentioned this or is okay with me mentioning it. He was playing Odin, the Chase, and he went to throw the Gungnir at me with a +3 to his attack and penetrating damage against my Odin Destroyer. I was like, oh man, well, that item's indestructible, so you're going to throw it, it hits me and lands in my square, and we could have played catch with the spear all day. He says, no, it would be, if it's indestructible, it stays in my hand. I'm like, no, it would throw, hit, and drop. Well, we were both wrong because even though it says
KO'd.
indestructible, it's still KO'd in an attack, which, again, misleading words saying indestructible. Indestructible, nothing should be able to destroy it. I was looking forward to a fun game of Catch the Gengear, but it didn't happen, and we got in a big, fight about it. I said, you know what, that's fine. I'm here to have fun. I'm not having fun anymore. I'm done here. Because the fighting over a stupid rule, over something that we could just read the card or, that should be better clarified is just not worth it to me anymore. And so that's part of the reason why I was really upset with this rule change, because I knew these arguments were coming. They were hoping to end all arguments, and they ended a lot of them. But now when the argument comes up, it's based off of a change or something that's new, and we don't have any updates about it. We don't have it. I mean, I watched the rules form pretty.
There's no precedence.
Yeah, it's just like, you know what, guys, get used to rules for a little while. Read your book, read your stuff. Don't ask us questions unless it's really important. And I was just like, come on, guys. I mean, I understand why you're doing that, but you can't do that to us, because you've got an old player base that's trying to transition, and you've got a new player base that's coming in asking questions, and you basically got nobody who knows how to play the game right now.
Mike, not to slow your roll or anything, but the wire is starting to pull the mic slowly away further and further from your face.
There we go.
Much better, thank you.
But, we really need that support from WizKids right now, both old and new players. And, I know I'm asking a lot, and I've always asked a lot from WizKids, but, we really need this more than anything. And I noticed there's a lot of channels cropping up, a lot of people answering rules, people stepping up. We got Tabletop doing his articles. There's a strong community support now, but if the new players don't know where to look for this stuff, it's falling on deaf ears.
Yeah, definitely.
It almost feels like the community is doing as much, if not more, work than WizKids is.
Yeah, when I was at the ROC US Cup, for one of the builds that we were doing, we were using the new rules for this one event. It wasn't the main, but it was the Sunday event, and Patrick was judging again. So I go ahead and I ask him, "Hey, can you play special objects with resources now?" And there were two judges in the room, and they look back at me with blank faces, and then all of a sudden Patrick says, "And it begins." Nobody, there's going to be so many new questions about the complexity of the game.
Right, but at the same time, if you go back to the phrase that, if they want you to do it, they're going to tell you to do it. If it's not something they want to happen, it's not going to be in the rule book. So if they're not telling you can't use a resource with a special object, then you can. They didn't tell you couldn't.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't tell you could.
It's all about the written instruction, which comes back to reading. It's a thing. A lot of Heroclix players are very underread when it comes to
Yeah, I agree.
Guilty as charged. I'll read a power and I'll skip 3 words and it'll work completely differently than it was supposed to.
Right.
Or
yeah,
even,
that's how they resolved it.
Like, I feel like sometimes I wish I had an eidetic memory, because I'll read through the rule book at least once a month from cover to cover, and I'll read through the pack at least, maybe once every other week. But I still get those moments where I'm like, wait, was it this way, or did I imagine that? Did I get that from a different thing? So I'm always second guessing myself, even after reading the rules so many times, because it's 33 pages. It's like, that's a lot to unless you have an eidetic memory, that's a lot to try and remember. Now, of course, a lot of it is, yes, the green ring means you're only allowed to have one of these on your force. But a lot of it is also things that come up during a game, like, can I have a resource and a special object? So just trying to memorize all that. I think it's not so much as learning to memorize it, but remembering where it is in the rule book, that if it comes up, I can flip to it quickly.
I think the problem is actually the consistency between what is allowed and what is not allowed. Because a lot of times you'll think of something like, man, that is way too busted, that shouldn't be allowed. And it is. And other times you think, man, that's rudimentary, that should happen. No, it doesn't. And you're just like, what? come on, guys, make up your mind. Either we can't do stuff or we can do stuff. Don't make exceptions. Don't say, well, you can do this, but you can't do that because it's balanced. No, no, it's not. I'm sorry, it's just not. But that's why I said that I feel like the whole game design was let's find a way to say no to everything, and then after we've done that, we're going to find a way to say yes to some other things. And they should have just went, we're just going to go no, and after everybody's settled into no, then we'll start working on yes. And they just jump straight to, well, let's throw in these other little things to make them happy that they can do these things that they've always wanted to do. And I just think it was too much.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right in the head there, Mike. I think that's the balance, but they might have not gotten perfectly, because and you guys take what I'm gonna say as a compliment because it's an honest and true compliment. But you guys have a lot more experience in older sets. You guys live this to top, and please correct me if I'm wrong or if I have a different view. But the view that I have when I look into pieces from different ages, as I try to set up teams and learn more about the game, it looked to me from a design perspective as if for a moment, the cool stuff to make the character hot, new, and fresh was to break the rule. So you had it was the outwit cancels everything. Then you have guys that are protected from outwit. Then you have guys that have powers that you can't use that can use, and the outwit is not applicable. Then they're the ones that break the rules, and the ones to which the rules are not applicable. And then you start to see how they interact with all the other stuff, and then they create exceptions to the rules. So then Pulse Wave gets everybody, but then you create the Midnight Sanzata that says, well, we actually don't get to draw the line of fire there, so that Pulse Wave doesn't get there anymore. Pulse Wave, which was a power to be meant and now is supposed to get everything except blocking elevation. That's how I read it. Get
Midnight
blocking, get
Suns,
elevation,
Nick Fury.
destroy everything. So that way it's what now I hope that what they do is like you said, and like I said, nail it right in the head. Get everything that you can do, start from fresh and say this is the basic stuff. And we're gonna try to do fresh stuff and new using what you have on the table, and maybe we'll do the fresh by the right yeses, and maybe they got too harsh on the no, which is usually like the pendulum goes too strong to either side, and then you're gonna start swinging lower and lower until you get the
Well,
middle.
one of the things that just really got me, especially the new rules and how it was ruled, was the Zatara Green Lantern on Elseworlds. And I'm going to go off on a tangent. See what I did there? For just that they released this character that breaks every fundamental rule of the game. You're bringing figures back in. You're being able to do stuff for free. She can't make attacks. Just all this stuff that you're taking power actions, doing stuff for free. Just this wall of text. And we all looked at it and we said, "Ooh, I can't wait. I could break this in so many different ways. I could do this with it, I could do this with it, and I could do this with it." And my very first thought was, WizKids is going to say no, WizKids is going to say no, WizKids is going to say no. And that's exactly what happened. No, you can't bring back the same character more than once. No, you can't bring them back on any click if they were a vampire. No, you can't bring back KC figures, you know. Yeah, and no, now you can't, because of mind control, you can't mind control and use it for yourself. It's just no, 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 no. So now we have this gigantic wall of text to just say, yay, bring somebody back to life for a turn. Why wasn't it just that simple?
It would be simple to say stand on a power, get one click, and use that click from the guy who died as your for that turn, and that's it. Don't bring anyone back. Just use the powers and dial for that turn and get rid of it. Hope
That
summers for a turn, more aggressive.
it kind of sounds like WizKids is trying to avoid people finding or exploiting loopholes for use or play.
Well, yeah, that was one of their
Mhm.
mission statements when they first announced new rules. Is we're trying to avoid corner cases. We're trying to avoid these situations that make for unfair play, which is great. But then they go and release these figures like Unimind that has a novel for a card, or Green Lantern Zatara that has a novel for a card, and the very first thing, well, how do I break it? How do I break it? I know
Dude,
there's
but the vampire idea is nasty. Congratulations. Get Hell Cow, bring her back,
and they said,
everybody.
nope, that doesn't work anymore. And we've got a rule
Yeah,
that
I
says
hear it.
exactly why. And I'm just like, why? Why are you going to go through all this effort to make this really stupid, busted, super complex ability if you're not going to let us use it to its fullest?
Yeah.
So, anyway, the whole reason why I got on the mic, but I appreciate all the questions and having the talk shop with me here. Um, I really just came on to tell everybody out in YouTube land in the Cere-Bros. I'm sorry that I had to leave. My obligations to the channel just became a little too much for my personal life. I know it's been sad for everybody that I had to go, but it has been a monumental stress relief for me, and my overall mental health is much better. And as much as I do miss filming and being on the channel, things are going a lot better for me. I am doing what I can to try and support Erks as little as possible because he needs to take this under his own wing, and I appreciate everybody stepping up to.
Hey, Mike. I think I speak. I'm
You
sorry.
got cut.
Yeah, you got cut off. I thought you were done. I apologize. But I think I speak for the entire community when I say, you need to do what you need to do. If you have to focus on other things for your own mental health and your own stability, I remember when I was completely stressed out and how I treated my family and without even realizing it and how I was doing at work. And stress is a killer. So if you need to step back for stress reasons, do what you need to do. But I know as a personal fan of yours and of Alpha Strike and of Erx's, I would be completely happy just seeing you pop on occasionally to a Cere-Bros or something just to speak your mind, because you do have one of the more intelligent minds in Heroclix. And not having that sounding board makes my world feel like I'm deaf.
Well, I appreciate the compliment. I'm going to have difficulties getting out the door when I leave here tonight because my head's probably about this big. But to be honest, guys, I'm still here. I'm still playing HeroClix. I will drop in on Cere-Bros from time to time. Maybe guest appear on an episode with Erks when I have time. Maybe even film a battle box occasionally with him, if we have the setup and we're good to go. But, anybody and everybody is welcome to reach out to me through the Mike Nito of the Alpha Strike HeroClix Facebook page. Just message me. I'll get a hold of you, say hi, talk shop. I've put this invitation out there more than once, never really on a video, but I'm still here. You guys want to talk to me? You want to bounce ideas off me? Go for it. Knock yourselves out. If you don't know how to get a hold of me, ask Erks. He'll tell you. He'll tell you exactly where to find me. There's no hiding from this guy. So, I may not be on the forefront anymore, but I'm still here, and I'm still a very active part of the community, just not in the spotlight, as it were.
If I may add a bit more compliments, and before I make a heresy due to cultural differences, allow me a quick disclaimer. In Brazil, it's very common and people do joke a lot between each other freely when it's something that is unquestionable. For instance, I could joke about you not caring about HeroClix because nobody would take my joke seriously because you've been gaming this game forever, blah 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 blah. So I will allow me to make one provocative joke after the compliment. First, I couldn't echo Rich more. I mean, your presence is yours and Erks, but yours in your own right is one of the main reasons why the channel get where it is, and we'll continue to go forward because you made the soul of the channel. It's all credit due to you and Erks. I do think your active opinion will be missed, but like you said, the first reaction, which lasted very little, thank God, you're not quitting the game. You're just taking a more of a active backseat. Backseat on the filming and forefront, but active still in being in the community and being there for everybody, which you always were. And I couldn't see you doing differently. So props and thank you on behalf of everybody. But at the joke, then thank you for everything you've done to the channel. It's amazing. You made big fans here and many others that are unspoken but are there. And you have 1,000 of them at the very least. But one provocative joke is, but it's funny that you say that WizKids say no to everything and then come back slowly with a yes, because you're going to say no to almost everything HeroClix now, and you're coming back slightly with every yes. So allow me on WizKids' behalf to call the kettle black, please.
Well, I did have that really awesome campaign that started about becoming president of HeroClix, and I don't know. It's still there. I can't walk away from the campaign.
Exactly. You still have my full support and vote. I approve of your message.
It's funny because like you're afraid your message is, well, I don't know if you're afraid of it, but I think you have a concern that your message is you're walking away from the Alpha Strike, but even if that was your message, even if you were just completely done, you don't realize you can't. You're so much a
Yeah.
part of it,
It's not
of its
all right.
like you're so much a part of its evolution, of its getting to where it is today, that 5 years from now you're still going to be a part of Alpha Strike, even if you never appear, write, respond, or anything from today forward. You and Eric created this baby, and no matter what happens from here on out, you're part of its legacy. And
It's like the Muppets, my friend. It's always going to be Jim Henson's Muppets. It's not going to be the next
Right.
guy doing the Muppets. It's your thing. You guys thing.
Exactly. It's yours and Eric's baby, so no matter what happens from this point out, it's still, your credit. You're in the credits.
Wait. Does that mean I'm gonna have to start paying him child support when I'm not here?
I knew you were going to say that.
This whole innuendo was just about nailing you on camera for child support.
Oh man, I've been busted.
That's great.
Anyway, I'm gonna turn you guys back over to your master coordinator, Erks, because I'm gonna get out of here. But hey, it was good seeing you all, guys. And when I have time, I will try and jump in Cere-Bros. And reach out to me on Facebook, message me through my channel. I am gonna start trying to write some articles based on the same content that I used to film. Again, a little context there. It was taking me 3 hours to edit a 3-minute film. That is just way too much time devoted to something that it started to feel like a second job, and that was just way too much. I love the game. I love the community, but a second 40-hour-week job is not for me. So anyway, I'm going to hand you guys over to Erks, and, I'm going to say this early. Strike first and strike hard, guys. I'll catch you later.
See ya.
Love you, Mike.
Sir.
Yeah, man. Welcome
I feel like
back,
the final
Mr.
countdown should be playing in the background.
Erks,
No.
Well,
Yeah,
what's up with
take
the
the
beanie,
cap.
man?
No
Take the
hat.
cap, okay?
No hat.
You are not in
Take
the
the
rules,
beanie
but you're
off.
still breaking
The
the
wife-
spirit of the game.
The wife, whatever. Don't call me a spirit breaker. That's a thing. Don't do that. The wife came out. She is not happy with me. She put this on me because she's.
Oh man.
Yeah, that trumps everything. So keep the beanie.
There we go.
Oh well.
But
Mike Trump's
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah. My only suggestion is edit this video, not cut anything out, but put a warning beginning. This is gonna be a show with strong emotions through and through. There are special guests. There's hair cutting. That's Mike's message. Take some cooling pills before you watch the show.
wow, there's a lot of comments.
Okay,
Pedro, thank you for
you missed a lot.
watching this for me.
Don't worry. I'm with you. I got you.
Yeah, you guys are...
So can we go over our homework assignment now?
Yes. So we're gonna try and end up soon and get that done. So homework assignment. Pedro has come up with an awesome idea for a homework assignment for us to cover. Pedro, do you want to go ahead and give everyone a quick overview of what you want us all to do?
Sure. The idea was simple. We were discussing in the background a lot of even in our chat, the interaction that we have, this new equipment, this new weapons from the Tor set, and the idea was to say pick any piece you like, whether it's mad or just cute. The homework assignment was try to get a cool interaction, try to extract something more or something different from that piece with such a weapon. It could be any piece, any weapon. They have to be modern, doesn't have to be meta. And the idea was get a weapon from the Tor set, and how can you take more out of this piece or make him do something different that you think would be cooler for the piece.
Well, I'm gonna go first since you guys have heard it the least from me this episode.
Yep.
And I'm going to take an idea I ripped from Mike because he had a really good idea with this one, and I didn't do my homework because I was editing videos and setting up a studio all week. But the one that intrigued me the most was the Blood Axe with the super rare Spider-Man from Superior Foes. Just giving him Battle Fury, Exploit, and Steel Energy, he now deals with Mystic characters. He can heal himself back if he gets hit, and his Super Senses is amazing right now. Just 4 through 6 at range. It's crazy.
Yep. Cool.
No. Yeah. Spider-Man Mjolnir is not good, Mike. That's only 4 range.
That's Spider-Man's already hard to take down.
Anyone with Mjolnir, it's like Mjolnir is the new bacon of Heroclix. Everybody's better
Of
with
course,
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir is a new bacon of Heroclix. Okay, it's not kind of obvious.
It's good on everything.
Yeah, it's good on everything. All right, so I'm done. Scott, what was your pick?
All right, so I really like the weapon that comes with Unworthy Thor, the axe, the Jarnborn or something like that.
Yep.
Onboard, yeah.
Yeah. So you got the crit hits from 11 to 12, 9 to 12, right?
Right. Not
Yep.
So there's along with the new set, there's a new character, Hela, I think her name is. She has a special attack damage ability. It's somewhere near the end of her dial, but I think it would be really effective if this weapon was on her. Her damage ability is if she attacks a character, I think if she deals damage and if the attack was a crit hit, then you immediately KO the character.
Yes.
So I was thinking that if you got the 9 through 12, that's considered a crit hit. And if you hit, even if you hit like a 700-point character, it's immediately KO'd. Like,
Can you imagine
honor.
Mixi Plix there to make sure you get the 9 easier? Get a good
Oh,
roll
yeah,
on Mixi
yeah,
and save that
definitely.
6.
Wow.
yeah,
Okay,
anyway,
I'll take
I
3
think that's
probs.
good. Even though the damage ability is at the end of the dial, KOing any point fig just by rolling like a 9 or higher, I'd take that any day. Hela's a good piece on her own as well. Like,
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good combo.
And it's a huge rate for a crit. Let's agree. 9 to 12, it's a lot. It's a high number. It's not going to happen all the time, but that's that's a big range.
yeah, because you got the crit hits now ignore super senses, right? Because they become hit, and you still get the +1 damage, and that sounds definitely worth it to me. All right, I'll go ahead and pass the mic to whoever wants to go next.
For me, it was I couldn't think of anything past this set. I've been really busy. Haven't really had a chance to step into the lab and formulate plans to conquer the world. But for me, it was Thunderstrike on Unimind. The reason being is 10 range with knockback that heals with 2 targets, and he's going to stop click. He's only 5 clicks deep. He hits that stop click. It's a great way to bring him back up the dial. With knockback to make sure nobody gets close enough, even though he can shoot out of adjacency, just keep them at arm's length, hitting at 10 range. You throw Athena on the sideline with a Makari, run him with... who'd I run him with? I had this team all planned out. It was the one that double probs if he probs an Eternal. I can't remember who it is.
Ajax.
Yes. Ajax. Run him with Ajax. Give him, double prob just in case. 10 range knockback that heals 2 clicks on double targets. He's going to be around forever at that point. You never even have to worry about bringing out Athena or Makari. That was my plan. The other one I came up with was Jarnborn as well on the Chase Hawkeye to bump that damage just a little bit.
Ew.
Slightly, right?
But,
All right.
Okay. So I took a 2 cute ones and a more aggressive one. The aggressive one being a variation of one of the cutes. The first one, like I said, is Mjolnir on the DEADPOOL Deadpool chase. I think it's going to be cool because it's going to be easier for him to make the first melee attack that triggers the ranged. So that one's going to be a cool one. You're not going to see it in meta, but that adds a lot of punch to that particular Deadpool. And I know that the Merc Jet is not necessarily meta or at all, but for a fun game, you just drop Deadpool there. Deadpool makes a close attack, then makes a ranged attack, and it's all good, and you have the pluses. So I think it's going to be a cool interaction. You're going to extract it a little bit more from him. Of course, everybody mentioned already, not here, but everywhere, Mjolnir with death is super meta, so whatever, you can hit people from close, from 10 range, and give them the death token. That one's a given. But I also think the Blood Axe the Blood Axe, and this goes generally. So I'm going to speak generally and give two examples. Blood Axe is great for people that has colossal stamina without being multi-base characters, and that goes for the ADW hook chase, and that goes for the Drax. The Drax is a cute one because you can keep colossal stamina with the steel energy and keep going with the plus juices all around, and you're gonna be a happy Drax. You know, the battle rate, whatever, and he also gets battle rate, so you're just gonna make Drax a lot better and cooler and meaner. And that goes for the same thing for the Hulk chase because they were made for one another. That's likely gonna be super meta seeing Blood Axe on the ADW hook chase.
Definitely.
All right, Shay.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't do my homework that well, so I'll have to do a fallback. I was like, "What are we doing?" All right, so I should have read something or kept up with it. So really, I'm gonna have to go to fallback. One thing that's been intriguing me is Thor's weapon. I know it's the one we all fall back to, Mjolnir, or however you say it. I don't know. I don't speak Norse, but
Mew Mew.
Mew Mew, whatever you want to call it. The one piece I think is interesting with it is Bebop and Rocksteady.
Ooh, yeah.
Because since they can do a range attack and shoot out of adjacency too, they can use that thing almost to their full advantage because they'll get 2 attacks. So they can get a range attack and then get a close attack. And if you're adjacent, they'll get a +1 to damage and +1 to attack. So that's why I looked at it, because putting it on a piece that can do 2 attacks and has that kind of versatility, I thought that might be neat to try, see how it works, see how it is. And they're only 125 points, and that's what, 135 now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you, Shay. Now, of us here on Cere-Bros, who actually has a Mjolnir in position right now?
Nope.
Not me. That guy's running for like
Not me.
160
Alright.
bucks
Give me
right now.
24 hours and pray that the mail doesn't screw me and ask me again.
Yeah,
I tried so hard to get one. No one wants to trade for less than like $1,000. It seems like. Ugh.
yeah. My buddy got one, but I didn't. I mean, I got Yarnborn. I like it, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting that one too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well,
Yeah.
I think we're gonna wind down now. It's getting late. There's been a lot of emotion, a lot of happy times. I lost my hair in the last hour. Really, I've never felt my head before.
That's what she said.
Fuzzy,
What?
slap you across the monitor. But yeah, anyways, kind of recap, guys. So 1,000 subs. Thank you to everyone. This was an amazing night. 2 guests, Scott. Thank you so much for taking time to come hang out with us. We'll have
Yeah,
you.
thanks for having me on.
Yes, thank you, Scott.
I hope you
Yeah.
guys had fun seeing Mike again and interacting with him. Just good old days with Mike and the Cere-Bros show. I know he misses it. But he's just so busy.
And thanks
Well,
for
while
the
we-
support for the guys that's cheering the 1K. Thanks for everybody for joining in.
Yeah, and I want to give a huge shout out to Matt from Games Rule. He kept tweeting every so often saying, "Hey, they're like this far from 1,000, this far from 1,000. Come on, get him there, guys, get him there." He's such a cool guy. I'm just so blessed to know that guy. But remember, everyone out there, Doomsday, this guy could be yours. Just like the video, be a subscriber. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will draw out names and we'll get this lovely figure. So, time to close out. You guys ready? We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Since there's 4 of us, I'm gonna say one line. Okay, I'm gonna say remember. I'm gonna go strike first, strike hard. Okay, got that?
Wait, your line might be different from our line. Who's in the line?
I'm gonna go Brazilian and I'm gonna say I'm gonna be hard.
Everyone, pick a word. Let's do this.
I'll
Okay.
take strike. I'll do the
The first strike or second strike?
first strike. I'll take first strike.
Okay. Who's taking first?
I'll do first.
Okay. And then that means Fuzzy.
Fuzzy gets the second strike.
Second strike.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Always remember, guys.
Strike.
Strike
Oh, no. See, we do it.
first. First.
Strike.
Hard.
Yes, we got through it.
That was better. All right. Well, have a wonderful evening, everyone. We'll see you on the next Cere-Bros show in 2 weeks' time. I have an unboxing coming out tomorrow for everyone.
Cool.
So watch out for that.
Sweet.
My first solo unboxing, so that'll be fun. I have hair in that one.
Flashback.
We'll have no more hair. But anyways, good night, guys. I'm ending
Good
the
night.
stream
All right,
now.
see ya.